Hello from Myrtle Beach. Today we are on the southern part of Myrtle Beach. Actually, technically, we're a little south of Myrtle Beach. We're at the Myrtle Beach State Park. We are going to talk about what Myrtle Beach is like in the month of November. We're going to talk about what crowds are like, what's closed, what's open, all of the information you need to plan your Myrtle Beach vacation in the month of November. Or if you're thinking of moving here, we'll also talk about what it's like now that we're getting into the off season. Hi, I'm Carmen. If you're new here, we cover everything Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area. And if you're a return viewer, welcome back. We are so glad to have you with us. So we are taking a walk along this beautiful beach here at the Myrtle Beach State Park. And it is a gorgeous November day today. And I know it looks like there's not many people on the beach, but it is 9:17 in the morning. It's a little early for most people. This is a Sunday morning. We always get questions about what day of the week and what time of the day the video is. But we are going to talk about crowds. The crowds in November vary a lot. So just last weekend, which technically was the last weekend of October, we had some 80s. And so this beach right here, this exact beach, was packed during those 80s days. There's a lot of locals that are going to come out when it's nice like that, especially once you start getting into the fall and you have a day in the 80s. You're going to have a ton of locals swarm to the beach. You're also going to have people who have some flexibility. Either they work remotely or they're retired or whatever, and they see a great weather forecast and they hop in the car and they come to Myrtle Beach for a couple of days. And so the crowds really go along with the weather. The better the weather, the bigger the crowds, but you're not going to see anything like you do in the summer. It's not that kind of crowds. Also, there's not going to be long waits for things, that kind of thing. It's going to be completely different. As far as other things to keep in mind in November, you can see these prints along the beach. These are actually horse prints, and that's one of the reasons we're filming this video in this area. Starting November 1st, you can bring your horse onto the beach, but only in designated areas, and it's a very small area in Horry County. So you can't go up there where you see those large hotels in the distance. You cannot go up there and ride your horse. That pier you see in front of us is the Spring-Made Pier, and that's the northern border of where you can have your horses. And then the southern border is down this way, right before you get to Surfside Beach. So if you can see that really tall hotel, try to zoom in, well, it's more of a condo residence, but if you can see that, that is actually where the Surfside starts, and that's where you can't take your horses beyond that point. So it's only in this small part of Horry County, because despite the Myrtle Beach State Park being called the Myrtle Beach State Park, it is not in the city of Myrtle Beach. It is actually in the county. So it's a small area, and they are supposed to pick up after their horses, although Brian and I can tell you, right, Brian, they never pick up after their horses.
Yeah,
do not. So that's not, I mean, maybe there's a couple of nice people that do, but we've never seen people pick up after their horses. But we are generally, unless we have some freakishly warm weather and you have a strong constitution and you can stand the cooler water, most people are past the swimming point. But we do have a lot of people, just like this guy setting up here, that are gonna still sunbathe and enjoy the beach. So it is nice to pick up after yourself. And you see these people with dogs in front of us. Also, the time you can bring dogs on the beach changes during the off season. As far as I know, you can double check me online. I'm pretty sure you can walk your dogs any time of day this time of year. The city of Myrtle Beach has a good website, as does Horry County, so you can always look it up online. But during tourist season, you can only walk them on the beach during certain hours. So now we've gotten into that off season. One big change for Myrtle Beach this year, and I'm talking about the city of Myrtle Beach, not here in the park, is the city of Myrtle Beach is starting to charge for parking year-round, and that went into effect November 1st. Used to, at the end of October, the public beach parking became free. That is no longer the case. They are going to start charging for parking. Now, there are still some sneaky free areas to park, and we have a video that covers some of that information. I'll link that in the description below, but it's not right by the beach. You'd have to walk a block or so to get the free parking. So it's there, but it's not right on the beach in the city. I'm talking about within the city of Myrtle Beach. Now, there's other areas like Garden City, which is south of where we're walking right now. Those are in the county, and so as of right now, the time of this recording, you can still park, even in the summer, at the beach access parking for free. Also, let's talk about closures and that kind of thing. Family Kingdom's closed. We mentioned that in our last video. They closed a bit ago. They closed for the late fall, winter, and then they open again in the spring. And when they close and open exactly varies year to year. I think they base it on crowd levels and things like that, and the weather. And then also some other rides will close down. However, the Skywheel does remain open year round, and the Skywheel cabins are fully enclosed, and we've ridden it. We rode it right at Christmas last year, did a sunset ride, and it was gorgeous. I have a video of that. I will link it below. You can see the Christmas lights. It was really cool. And so those were heated in the winter and air conditioned in the summer. So it's a great ride if you're looking for rides in the off season. Got quite a few shells today. Part of a whelk shell there. Lots of shells. But we do get a lot of great weather. So like I mentioned, last weekend it was in the 80s, last weekend of October. Then this week was the beginning of November. And we had a couple of days that were in the 50s. It was chilly. It's like high 50s for the high. I know if you're up north, you're laughing and think that's funny. But for here, it's cold, and especially with the wind. We had some high winds those days. So in the morning, it might have been in the 40s, but the real feel was in the 30s. So it's chilly in the mornings, and then got okay during the day, but you still needed a jacket, long pants and a jacket. But now today, you know, the weather's totally changed again. This morning it was in the 50s when we got up and did our early morning exercise, and now at 9:20 it must be in the well into the 60s because I've got short sleeves on, he's got short sleeves on, we all got short sleeves on. So the weather has definitely improved already, and that is the way it's going to be. And all this week we're supposed to have 70s this week coming up. I think it's even getting up to 77 on Thursday according to the forecast. So our weather can be all over the place. So if you're packing for a November trip, you want to pack all kinds of stuff. Bring at least some long pants, a warm jacket. It doesn't have to be like a heavy winter coat, but bring a warm jacket, bring long pants, bring shorts, bring shirts, short sleeves, long sleeves, bring it all. It doesn't make packing easy, but bring layers really is the main point, because it can be cool in the morning and then really warm in the afternoon. And that's a typical November. The good thing is we're moving out of hurricane season. Usually there's not a ton of rain. You get a lot of these beautiful days. I mean, just look at this. Let's just pan and look at this. This is beautiful. It really is. And this is what you get a lot of times, not just in November, but through the winter months. We get a lot of these clear, bright blue days, and it really lifts your mood. You know, a lot of people suffer in the winter and they get kind of down or worse, and this really helps. I can tell you, living here, this kind of weather really makes a big difference when you move into the winter months. So also closures can affect restaurants as well, and it can affect really popular restaurants. I can't give you a list of all of them because, you know, it's usually the locally owned restaurants. The big chains stay open, of course, and plenty of local restaurants stay open. All I would recommend is if you have a favorite place that you're used to going to in the summer, I would check with them and make sure they are still open in the winter. Like either check their website or call them before you go so you don't waste a drive over. We've got a plane coming in. It's a small plane. So the Myrtle Beach Airport is right over here. I've talked about this in a couple of videos, but I always get questions about it. And some days, just like today, the planes come in over the beach. And when they do come in over the beach, it's a really cool sight to see. Not so much when it's a small plane, but we get a lot of military planes, we get military jets, we also get the large passenger planes. Obviously, those commercial planes come in more in the tourist season than they do this time of the year. You're more likely to see them, but we get the large, you know, Delta, Sprint, the big planes as well, and they can be quite dramatic. If you go right up here, so basically right before that first building you see, stand right in that area, that is the best place to watch the planes come in over the beach. I don't recommend doing it in the off season though, because like I said, there's so many fewer planes. If you're going to do that, I would definitely do that in the on season when you've got lots of people coming into the area on the planes. Also, there's a lot of entertainment still available in November. There is Broadway at the beach, there's Barefoot Landing, much more. I'm not just picking on those two locations. Tons of entertainment still open. Most of the things on the boardwalk are still open. There's lots to do here. The aquarium is still open. The Ripley's attractions are still open. Putt-Putt is still open. You know, there might be one course that closes down, but most of them are still open. So there is plenty to do. Plus there's all the shows. And starting November 1st, most of the large shows start their Christmas shows. And there's a bunch of Christmas stuff going on. So I will link the video we just did about that with all the activities for November and December in the description below. So you can check those out. Oh, yikes. I know you probably don't want to see this, but Brian just was talking about people not cleaning up their mess. Oh, there's a butterfly. I mean, that's cool. So that shows you what the weather is like here. We still got butterflies. And we went to Brook Green Gardens yesterday, which is south of here in Murrells Inlet, and tons of butterflies everywhere. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to click on the video on your screen right now and click subscribe so you won't miss anything new. Thanks so much for watching. Until our next adventure.